Mr. Franklin, does your client consent to being sentenced remotely?
He does, Your Honor.
All right. Then, Mr. Dixon, anything you want to say before the court imposes sentence?
No, sir.
All right. Well, Mr. Dixon, this is a bit of a conundrum for the court.
I'm sorry, if I may interrupt. I believe we have a victim here wishing to give a victim impact statement. I did not realize you were asking me for allocution.
Oh, who do you have?
Jennifer Hurld, I believe, is here to give a statement.
Ms. Harold, did you wish to make a statement? If you did, you are muted, so you'd have to unmute. Start with that.
Hi, Your Honor. Yes, I would like to make a statement.
Go ahead.
Joshua owes me almost $30,000. That money represents more than just financial. I have had to work extra hours to cover everything that Gunner needs. I have missed out on holidays and milestones by having to work like 50 hours a week to make up for the money that Joshua owes me. Gunner has had to miss out on things because I haven't been able to afford it because I either don't have time to make up that extra money or it's just too much. And this has been 16 years of fighting to try to get support from Joshua.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. So then I'll go back to Mr. Franklin. Did you have anything additional? Is it based on you didn't have the opportunity to hear the victim impact statement?
No, Your Honor. I think it's also good for my client to hear that as well.
Mr. Dixon, anything else from you? Did you want to state anything before the court imposes sentence?
No, sir.
All right, so Mr. Dixon, as I mentioned when we were going to start here, your PSI is a bit of a conundrum for the court. And that conundrum is exactly what Ms. Harold just highlighted. You are 39 years old. I think at this point you could be referred to as a career criminal. You've got 8 prior felonies, 12 prior misdemeanors. You were on parole when this case was charged. You have, throughout, I guess Gunner is your child's name, his life, as reported by Ms. Harold, I read about it in the PSI, she confirmed it this morning, done 0 to support him. And that's contrasted with Ms. Harold, who has been working 2 jobs, it sounds like, most of his life to support him because you do nothing. Now, I got a guideline range here of 5 to 34, which means one option for the court is to send you to prison for about 3 years, and that's what I'm tempted to do. Because there's nothing in your history that suggests that tomorrow you're going to get a job. In fact, when I look at the PSI, this is somewhat stunning at 39, underemployment. Now, usually people that are career criminals, they spend a few months at this job and a few months at the next job, and we see a list of just people that can't hold a job. Guess what's in your PSI? One former employment for what? 4 years. CJ's deck service from 20 to 24, making $15 an hour. So even during that 4 years, it doesn't appear that you made any payments. And you know what else I read in this PSI, which is telling to the court? There doesn't appear to be any drug or alcohol problems that are reported or highlighted by the Department of Corrections. No mental health issues, nothing that would suggest, well, here's why Mr. Dixon doesn't have jobs. Here's why Mr. Dixon doesn't make his support payments. There's nothing like that in your PSI. All I have before me is a guy who appears to have 0 interest in working, who has 0 interest in supporting his son, and who is a career criminal. I think that probably means prison sentence. But what I am going to do, Mr. Dixon, and I want you to listen to me carefully, I'm going to follow the recommendation with only one goal. That's you get a job and you start making payments. And I'm not going to screw around and give you 6 months to find a job. Anybody can find a job today. And I'm not going to give you the opportunity, sir, if you start messing up on probation, not reporting, not doing drug screen, any of that stuff. This tells me all I need to know about you. I'm going to give the opportunity to flip that around and make payments and not be using drugs and not being a career criminal. But your leash is that short because I'm not going to waste time with this. This tells me what I need to know. I don't think Ms. Harold is foolish enough to expect payments anytime soon either from you, because if history is a guide, we're all wasting our time. I hope you show the court that it is wrong. I'm going to place you on a period of supervision for 3 years. Now, I'm going to adopt all of these. There's 31 of these conditions of supervision. I'm not going to go over all of them with you, but some of them should be familiar to you, having gone through this about 8 prior times for felonies and 12 prior times for misdemeanors. We're going to get a substance abuse assessment done. You're going to follow all the recommendations of that. I'm going to require that you maintain employment of a minimum of 30 hours per week. Now, if you heard what was going on here, Ms. Harold has been maintaining employment of about 50 hours a week, working 2 jobs. So she's demonstrated amongst lots of other people in society that that can be done if one was so inclined. I'm going to require that you have a curfew. You have to be in your home between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. You're going to be subject to drug and alcohol screening while on supervision. While you're being supervised, your supervision fees are going to be $30 per month. I'm required by statute, and I will impose a $130 crime victims assessment. There'll be court costs in the amount of $550, attorney fees in the amount of $400. Also required by statute is a $68 state cost. And then I'm going to impose that restitution at the current amount of $27,000, $27,884 and 27 cents. And you'll maintain while on supervision payments to that in accordance with your support orders. Now, all those fines and costs the court just imposed are going to be secondary to the support payments. And whatever else we have, then you can pay those fees monthly, but that'll come after those support obligations. Now, Mr. Dixon, you do have a right to seek appellate review of this sentence, and if you'd like to do that, you have 21 days from today's date to make that request. If you want a court-appointed attorney, you have a broader window of 42 days, so 21 and 42. Mr. Franklin, do you have anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that'll complete the matter.
Your Honor, I have a question.
True, we do have to address that, which is part of the conundrum, wasn't it? We skipped right over it. So, Mr. Dixon.
Yes.
We forgot the most important thing, which is the jail. So the recommendation is for 5 months. That was part of what was giving me a little heartburn because I got a guideline range here that I mentioned earlier, 5 to 34. So I'm going to follow this recommendation for all the reasons I previously stated on the record, though I do have heartburn giving somebody like you the minimum end of the guidelines. So it'll be 5 months to 82 days. But it should not be lost on you what I've just said. The guideline range is 34 months. The guidelines arguably aren't even applicable if you come back for a probation violation. So you got a lengthy prison sentence that could be imposed if you can't get your act together. All right, so that takes care of the jail. And you have 21 days to seek appellate review. If you want a court-appointed attorney, you got a broader window of 42 days. Mr. Franklin, would you make sure we get that appellate paperwork back, please?
Yes, sure.
All right, now that'll complete the matter. You're all set, Mr. Dixon. Thank you, Ms. Boss.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What do we have next?